All right, everybody, I want to welcome Kevin Gleason. It's my very first Trilogy Talk interview. So we're going to see how this works. We're working with Skype, and I'm working on some multi-camera angles, trying to figure out the best way to do this. So this will be a good test. But either way, we got him in the house. Team Latitude 64, 1,000 rated, 1,000 plus rated now, right? So what are you? What are you rated right now?
1,001.
1,001. So just breaking that hump, but going up seems like gradually a little bit more for every rating. So all right, Kevin. So for those who don't know you, tell the disc golf world, the Trilogy world, a little bit about yourself. Kind of got how you got started to where you're at now.
Okay, so I grew up in North Carolina. There is a lot of disc golf in North Carolina. I just turned 41. I've been playing since I was about 10 years old, so probably a little over 30 years. I got started at a place called Camp Cheerio in the mountains of North Carolina. They had a course there. My grandparents, they were a big part of Camp Cheerio. My grandfather donated the land, and I remember vaguely playing disc golf there when I was a kid. I mean, it could have been younger than 10 years old. And, I found some family photos that actually had me, my sister, and my grandmother beside a basket. And, I'm 9, 10, 11 years old in those pictures. But it wasn't until I guess I got into high school that I would go out to the course with, 3 DX discs, and go out there and in High Point, North Carolina, and run around and just play and have a good time. And probably not until my mid-20s did I really start playing, bigger tournaments. My PDGA number is 19195, and I'm currently living in Maryland, and I play a lot of tournaments every year. And I travel as much as I possibly can, as much as I can afford. It's hard to travel a lot all year long. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started.
Okay, so you said you play a lot of tournaments. How many tournaments have you played this year? Do you know? And I have your sheet up here, so I know the answer. I'm just seeing if you know the answer.
I'll guess. There's some leagues mixed in with those, so I'm gonna say probably 26, 27.
You are currently at 34 total already. I'm at 14, and I feel like I play a lot. So 34 is it's not Emerson Keith a lot, but 34, how many do you think you'll get to? I see as of right now you're registered for 2 more, which looks like, is that a league? Shoe Tuesday at 6. This Warwick Disc Golf Championships.
That's an A tier.
Yep, so you got those 2 you're registered for. So that'll put you at 36. What else do you have this year that you're thinking about that's not on there?
Yeah, there should be one more on there. You got the Stafford.
Stafford Open, okay. I took my glasses off and it blended in with the Shoe Tuesdays.
Yeah. Okay, so the Shoe Tuesdays is my local league here in town in Salisbury, Maryland. I run it all year long during the time change, and being this year playing for Latitude has been a lot better for our local AMs because I've been able to do so much more with payout compared to years past. So, I might get 9 or 10 people there, and I'm able to pay out 3 or 4 discs. And it's a lot of fun. The Stafford course, I actually played for the first time last Tuesday with the, I'm sure you're going to talk about it, the Trilogy Challenge that we did.
Yep.
And that was the first time I'd ever been there. It's a beautiful course.
Okay. So, let's see, you're at 34, 36, you have at least 37. Any guess of how many more you're going to still add to that list here by the end of the year? Or is that it?
No, it's not it. It'll be over 40. One tournament I go to every year is down in outside of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's called the Tupelo Bay Open. It's ran by Kirk Yo, and you actually play on a ball course, and he sets up the baskets, and you get golf carts, and it's a lot of fun. That's usually the first weekend of December. I know for a fact I'm gonna go to that one.
I am pretty disappointed on the upcoming events. It doesn't say the Solinsky Masters in 2 weeks. So I was really hoping to be able to see you there. So, but I guess when you're playing 40-some tournaments, you got to pick and choose.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been there. The registration, I believe, filled up quite fast, and I met you at GBO, and then also we saw each other at Worlds. And usually, I only get to travel to one big tournament if I'm lucky a year, And this year, I actually went to two, and Worlds was beautiful out there for Masters Worlds. So, and GBO was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, GBO, I do get to travel quite a bit when I play. GBO is kind of a freebie for me because it's an hour away. So it's not like I'm even really gone. I still can go home during that week. But yeah, Masters Worlds, and then I'm doing Solinsky. So, and I did a Memorial in Vegas earlier this year as well. So it was a little bit more of a traveling year. But so for those who don't know you, and I kind of feel like I learned about you, also being on Latitude 64. Of course, I see you on the behind the scenes pages, but I've seen you a lot more with a social media presence this year. And I mean, just by looking at your profile, you've been pretty active since 2001. So from 2001 till this year, have you played a lot of big tournaments throughout the year, or have you pretty much stayed over on that coast between like Maryland and South Carolina?
So like I said, I try to play one big tournament a year if I can, if the finances work out. It's funny. Let's see. Chuck from Spikeheiser, Chuck Connolly.
Yep.
He calls me the only traveling C-tier pro that he knows, because you'll see me one weekend in Pennsylvania playing a C-tier, and then the following weekend you'll see me down in Georgia or South Carolina playing another C-tier. And the reason because that is I'm on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I have an older daughter that lives in Augusta, Georgia, and then my parents live in North Carolina. So visiting her once a month when she was younger, we would always try to find a little C-tier somewhere between South Carolina and Georgia. And that's what we do for the weekends during my visitation. So there's always been a lot of traveling for me up and down the East Coast and playing a lot of tournaments that way. This year I've jumped in and played a couple, more bigger tournaments, more bigger A tiers. And, I actually in Masters won my first A tier this year, which was really cool. It was really exciting. And
the 2 days in May?
Yeah, 2 days in May.
So speaking of a win, do you know off the top of your head how many wins you have this year?
13.
You have 16 total wins out of 34 events. So nearly half of your events this year have been wins. You have 12 wins in MPO and 4 in MP40.
And then the second place there's a bunch of those.
And then there is a bunch of, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 second places in MPO. You really actually only have, out of 25 MPO tournaments, Delaware was the only one that was not in the top 10, and that was a national tour. So you're at finished at 22nd in the caching. So on paper that looks like it doesn't fit with the rest, but 22nd at Delaware out of what, nearly 80 players, 76 or 78 players or something like that.
I think it was 73.
73, okay, but still 22nd is pretty good. I would be super happy with cashing it all at an NT. So to get $435 at an NT probably helps cushion that a little bit. But even your MP40, you got 11th at GBO, which again is pretty impressive. And then 15th at Masters Worlds, and I was there with you on that one. And if I remember right, I feel like you struggled the first round. And then, and I don't have that up in front of me. I'm just going off memory, but yeah, you played pretty solid from there on out. Is that right? I feel like you struggled one round, but then the rest you started working your way up.
I did. The first round when we had all that rain, it was a little bit crazy. I actually looked at the U-disc after, and I had more birdies than anybody else in the entire field the first round, but I had more double bogeys and bogeys also. And that's how it is sometimes. And I'm always one to, like, I try to tell myself, these bad rounds aren't always, just fight through them, go to the next one. I love playing this game. I enjoy playing this game. And for me to get upset and just get mad is not the way I go about things anymore. You know, I love playing this game. I just that's all I can say.
It's not worth getting mad when you get. I guess depending on what your role is, but a lot of times I play these tournaments to have a good time. Yeah, cashing is great. It's bonus. It makes it a little bit easier to go home and explain what I spent. But at the end of the day, it's not paying my rent, kind of thing. And so if I lose, it's an expense. If I win, it makes it easier to justify going to the next tournament or get cashing. So, but to get mad and frustrated, I just, I feel like that was a young person problem. It was when I was younger playing. Yeah, I used to get frustrated and never a bag kicking kind of person, but the walk away and want to be by myself and pout maybe a little bit kind of person. And now it's more like, it doesn't change anything. I still had a good time. But yeah, always trying to improve. I think as long as you're always trying to improve, that's really all that matters. And whether it's improving your game or your mental focus, or just yourself on the course, I think that's always a good thing. So again, kind of looking at your tournaments and kind of thinking to myself, like, man, I wish I could play a lot of those tournaments. So it's going to lead to my next question. And the reason I don't play a lot of tournaments is because I wear a lot of TD hats and course designing hats and things like that. And I've seen a little bit this year of with you doing some clinics. And you were part of the, we'll talk about it here in a minute, but with the Trilogy Challenge stuff. What is your role? And you run a league, a PDGA league. So are there other things that you're doing throughout the community, or as you travel, like you did the clinic? Do you TD any tournaments? Kind of what is your role as far as off the course with disc golf?
Okay, so TD and tournaments, I am, and that brings up to a couple more tournaments that aren't listed. I have TD this year, I think 3 or 4 in my area. And Delaware actually has offered the Timber two-step tournaments in November. I'm not sure exactly the dates on it right now, but I've already got them approved by the Parks and Rec. It's like November 17th and 18th, somewhere around that weekend. But that's the Timbers two-step. One's at Killens Pond State Park and one's at Trap Pond State Park. So I will be running those in November. And Shoemaker Pond here in Salisbury, Maryland. I've, like I said, I've ran 3 or 4 there this year. I normally do, run 3 or 5 TD, TD 3 or 5 tournaments a year. The clinic I did was actually, we've done 2 clinics this year. I did one at my tournament at Shoemaker with Zach Melton, which worked out really well with Zach being a lefty. We did shot selection on holes in our upcoming preparing for a tournament. And he was able to show the lefty lines that he throws. I was able to show the righty lines that I throw, and the reason we chose disc for each hole. And I ran my first clinic by myself down in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, and I had about 35 people down there. And that was a real experience. It was a lot of fun, and I did kind of the same thing, shot selection and how I prepare for the tournament that they were throwing down there the very next day.
Okay, well, it sounds you're keeping pretty busy. So I think it's it's always neat to see what different people do in the community. I mean, whether it's like you said, working with other tournament directors, clinics, local clubs, things like that. It's kind of what I've done the majority of my career. So I definitely have a lot of appreciation. So hey, just another quick stat I was just looking at. So you've got 46 total wins. 31 of them have come in the last 2 years. Just to show you your progress in the last 2018 and 19. So not to quite jump ship on questions, but has anything happened? I mean, you had some wins in 17, 16, and 15, but 18 and 19 are your significant. I guess I haven't looked at that. Did you play more, or was there a change in your game somewhere that has made you that much better of a player in the last 2 years?
a personal decision in my life that I made 5 years ago to quit drinking, I think has a big part of that. Um, it's changed me into a better person that I feel like, I was actually talking, every time I see Matt Dollar, he always says, man, he's like, you're my favorite 1,000 rated pro now. And, you changing your life has just, made you into a different disc golfer, and it wasn't that I was a jerk or that I think that I was too much of an alcoholic. It was just that one of those things that, I did it for myself and my family, and it has made me a better player, and I contribute that to a lot of the way I am right now. And also I started throwing a lot of Latitude plastic last year.
Yeah, I'd say my game's changed a little bit from there. I definitely like the plastic. I can't say that not drinking's helped because I'm not a drinker. And so I've really never been a drinker, at least not since my high school days or early college days. So I can't say that I've gotten better or worse due to drinking. So maybe I should start drinking and see where that puts me. Then I can stop drinking, and it'll make me better. It probably doesn't work that way.
I wasn't one to get up and drink or anything like that. It was a life-changing decision that I made, and it's been a wonderful decision in my life. So
still pretty exciting and something I didn't know, but again, I'm kind of, and some of this maybe I should have done before I called, and I looked a little bit, but as I'm breaking apart numbers, and I'm very much a statistic person. You watch other podcasts like On the Box or anything like that, or The Upshot or Smashbox or things like that, or
I do. I'll turn them on, the pre-recorded, or maybe not the live ones a lot of times, but I'll turn them on as I'm riding down the road and just kind of listen to them. The Tuesdays that DD does, I'll try to watch them a little bit and comment down at the bottoms every now and then. I know they did theirs yesterday. I was able to watch it for 10-15 minutes.
Right. Yeah, I rarely watch anything live. I did watch Smashbox live last night, though, just because that was some pretty interesting news that I didn't need, but I was really curious to know a little bit more answers about. Typically, my day job is that I mow actually disc golf courses. I work for one park department, but it's 2 courses, and my whole job is just to maintain those courses. So that's kind of my day job. That's what I do in the morning. Otherwise, then I work from home and have my own business of stuff. But when I'm on the mower, I listen to a lot of those podcasts. But anyways, the On the Box is a big statistic. Dixon Jowers does a lot of analogies and statistics, and listening to him over the years, it's kind of made me, as I'm breaking your profile apart, it's kind of interesting just to see that breakdown. And I don't know if you've ever looked at it, some of those things, or realized 31 events of the last 2 years, or those wins, and just to kind of show you and your fans, it's pretty impressive. So, but anyways, just to kind of explain why I was looking through that. So real recently, before I talk about the Trilogy Challenge, because that's pretty neat. I think a lot of people are going to want to hear that. I want to hear about your experience at Delaware. That's at Iron Hill, right?
Yes.
And so I've heard about Iron Hill. I watched some of the videos from this past week from Iron Hill. It looks like a very technical course. Watching a lot of the statistics of a lot of players, it looked like a very technical course. I don't know, just kind of tell me about your experience at Delaware and kind of how everything went there for you.
Okay, so Iron Hill is probably one of my favorite courses around. It's not a course for everybody. If you're somebody that can't throw a 300-foot line in the woods, it's going to frustrate you. There's a lot of trees, a lot of rocks, and their par 5s are sometimes only 600 feet. But it's a wonderful course. Jamie and the crew over there do a great job. Delaware line's only about 10 minutes from me, so the course is only about 2 hours from me, which is nice. I don't get, that many big tournaments that close to where I'm at. And my first round went better than I could have expected. It was raining when we first teed off, and I'm not sure what it dropped to. I think I shot a 10-21 or a 10-20 something the first round. I played real solid. I had you're gonna have bogeys at Iron Hill. It's almost impossible not to. It's just it's such a tough course, and they changed up a couple of the pars this year, so in the past, one of the par fours I counted on getting a birdie, and they changed it to a par three and shrunk it 50 feet, but it was out of my range.
Right.
So I found myself in 15th place after the first round. I was extremely happy about that. And then the next day comes, Saturday, and I just couldn't get the birdies for the first 3/4 of the round, but I could get the bogeys. And that's sometimes just how it is. And it's funny because after the round I was laughing. I was like, it's pretty amazing that I'm a little upset about my round and it was still a 983 rated round.
Yep.
That's my bad round at Iron Hills, a 983. And I was like, that's still good. That's stuff. That's a round that I would really much look forward to back in the past all the time. And then, so that took me to, I believe I was in 25th place after Saturday. I teed off Sunday, and I started off par bogey. Got a bogey on the second hole, and was just playing, I believe, either had another bogey after that or just par golf until about the middle of the round. And at hole 7, I took a birdie, and I ended up birdieing 7, 8, 9 in a row. I missed 10 and then birdied 11 and 12 and found myself 4 down and jumped to around 16th or 17th place. And I ended up taking a bogey on hole 15. And that's the hole they changed from a par 4 to par 3. It's like I said, it's a little bit out of my range. I hit an early tree. And after that, it's just pitching up again and taking the 4. And I get to hole 17, and I end up double bogeying 17. And finished with a par on 18 and shot, what did I shoot that round? I think I shot 1 down that round. And I believe it was a 10.08. And it's kind of upsetting because I found out after the round that if I had just parred 17, I would have qualified for USDGC.
Oh.
And never qualified for USDGC before. So that's a little bit upsetting, but I shot above my rating. I think I averaged 1,004 all weekend. I made a couple mistakes. I kept a clear head about it, had fun. A lot of my local players from around here came up and walked around with me and supported me, and that, it was a lot of fun. It was great. And I cashed at a national tour. I've only played at 2 of them. First one was last year in Delaware, and I missed cash by like 2 strokes. So, my goal going into it was to cash, and I did. So.
Well, looking at Iron Hill, again, I've never been there, and I've just watched the videos a little bit. And again, kind of doing some of that statistical analysis. So Matt Bell won, and I did not take anything from him, but just to show how hard that course was, I mean, he only averaged 1035 golf. And you look at a lot of these other big events, though, to win that, those guys are shooting 1050 plus golf. Now, again, I know Macbeth and a couple people weren't there, but Ricky was there, and Ricky's as hot as anybody, really, right now. And he came in second. Last cash was right at 1,000. So, yeah, you were 1,000, give or take 1,004 or so, but you beat a lot of solid players. Reed Friscara, Lance Brown, Austin Hannum, Peter McBride, Cole Montgomery, Eric Oakley, Thomas Gilbert. And, those are good players. And it's just the shows that it's the type of course that if you're like you said, if you're not throwing a 300-foot straight shot, it'll eat you up. And I know I saw a few things with Eric talking about the course and just kind of saying the same thing. He was just off his line inches, and it cost you. There's not always a way to get up and down once you get a bad kick into the woods. And so it's kind of interesting to see that. But it's definitely a course. I don't know that I thought much about the course in all the years I've been playing prior to even just this last week. But it's on my list now that I'd definitely like to at least go check it out. And maybe next year or the year after, I'm going to have to head up there and play that NT. Every year I like to try to find something new. So, but yeah.
I actually took, until I won this year, I took 3rd place at the A tier when it was there one year and beat some pretty big names. I believe it was 3 years ago. I mean, I beat James Conrad, Manabu, Mike Moser. That was a pretty exciting weekend. I think I averaged like 10-15, 10-20. And I know that it was brought up in another thing. I mean, I was rated 970 or something then. And just, it's a course, I consider this a lot like North Carolina golf, where you just got to hit your lines through the woods and land near the basket. Except at Iron Hill, you got to hit your lines in the woods, land at a certain spot, throw it again, and do the same thing. And that's the kind of golf I can play. I get out on these open courses that are 500, 600 feet, and these people that throw real far, there's just no competition for me, and I don't even have fun doing it anymore.
How does it compare to like as an average that course to say like hole 16 at Fox Run at Smuggler's Notch, where it requires a 300-foot straight shot and then it's a churn? Is it considerably worse, harder than that, or kind of comparable to that style of shot?
I'd say a lot of it is just like that shot. It's hole 16. You're aiming for that landing zone down there by the short pad, and then which I played very well there. But my upshot I threw OB. The last round I played at Fox Run, but yeah, it's very it's a lot of that kind of tight wooded golf, just like the woods of 16.
Okay.
You get off the fairway, you're reaching out. So.
Maybe that puts that in perspective for a few people as well, and it does for me just from playing that hole. And I also 5'd it on the final round because I went OB. But yeah, not very happy with that one. But it is what it is. So, all right. So the Trilogy Challenge. So we have the 2019 Trilogy Challenge. For those who don't know, that's where a tournament director chooses a course, invites people to come out. You get 3 discs. This year was the Keystone, the Vandal, and the Gatekeeper. And you play a course with just those 3 discs. Well, Mr. Gleason here put together a pretty all-star cast for this Trilogy Challenge and had it filmed by Gatekeeper Media. Tell us a little bit about who you got, but also how that came about, because a few of those names I don't feel like I feel like they had to have just fallen into place kind of at a good timing. I could be wrong, but it seems like it was kind of a unique opportunity to do that. So tell us a little bit about that Trilogy Challenge.
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of work with Gatekeeper Media this year and last year. They're starting to do a lot for video for disc golf, and they've actually just did my In the Bag, which will be coming out pretty soon. But they contacted me and saying, hey, we've been in contact with Casey DeSmith, who, if you do not know who Casey DeSmith is, he is the Pittsburgh Penguins goalie and dynamic disc team player. And they said, we want to do a Trilogy Challenge. I was like, that sounds pretty cool. And we set up the weeks, me playing for Latitude, Casey playing for DD, Chris Vila, he plays for Westside Disc. He's in the area. He's real close to Stafford Woods where we did this at. We got him, and we wanted one more big name. And I'm like, Albert Tam's in the States right now, and he just came off of some pretty big tournaments. And how about I write him, ask him, and see what he says? I was talking to Taco at DD, and he sent me all the Trilogy packages for free. I think he sent me 6 packs, and we were kind of going through names, and Albert Tam is one that I said, and I wrote and asked Albert. It was before he went to Worlds, and he said, that sounds good to me. Write me after Worlds, and they were already going to be in Delaware for the national tour. So, and I wrote him after, and I believe Taco said something to him, and he said, yeah, let's do this. So I drove up to Iron Hill last Tuesday, picked up Albert. We drove up to Stafford Woods in New Jersey, which is about an hour from there. I got to know Albert. He is a really good disc golfer. And, we talked for an hour there, hour back, and got there, and we did a Trilogy Challenge style tournament with the four of us being filmed by Gatekeeper Media with the two cameras. So, you know, it was a little spoiler. You'll see Albert almost ace a par 4 with the Vandal, which is what, a speed 7.
Whoa, yeah.
I think is a speed. So uphill about 450 feet, hanging basket, and we thought it was going in. So that should be out in the next couple weeks. Gatekeeper put most of their time in doing the chase card and getting that out. So they were putting this off for a couple weeks, and I know now they're up at MVP Open, and they're going to work on that. And then after that, this video should be coming out.
So it's funny, just on the Vandal, I've become a huge fan of the Vandal, and I knew about it prior to, I threw my Trilogy Challenge. I actually did a video here in Kansas City with a Trilogy Challenge where we played it like a tournament around with, I had a 10-year-old junior, I had a recreational guy, I had a higher rated than me, lefty, and then myself. So just to show different levels. But we did that, and I had thrown it a few times before, but I didn't really throw it to our Trilogy Challenge. And man, that thing just stayed dead straight. And where it really clicked for me is actually at Masters Worlds with Smuggler's Notch, was playing those wood courses. It was like, man, this thing just stays so straight. Now since then, I throw that Vandal, and it's, I wouldn't say it's the furthest flying disc in my bag, but it's the furthest straight flying disc that I have. And like, I throw a Ballista Pro, and yeah, I can get it to fly farther, but unless I'm just in an open field where I can get a really big flex, if I have to throw the Ballista Pro flat and keep it straight just to let it fade, I can actually throw the Vandal further. I only get the Ballista Pro further if I can get it to flex. And it's amazing how I'm going from a 7 speed to a 12 or 13 speed, and I'm still able to get so much glide on that disc. For those who haven't seen that yet, the Vandal is, for me, it was a legitimate game changer to how I played it, and I really cannot wait for it to become a stock item. You might have said it, maybe I tuned it out or missed it, but how did you guys get Casey?
Okay, so that came to be by Eric Nichols, who is at this. He's one of the Saffron Woods guys. They play a lot together, and I think Eric was the middleman between Gatekeeper and Casey. And then Casey set up a time that he could definitely be there, and then we kind of worked around his schedule. And then just getting Albert kind of just, it fell into place. You know, it was just, we had some other names that we could have brought, but we wanted another big name, and Albert ended up being the one, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was kind of like, when I kind of first saw that, it was like a celebrity Trilogy Challenge. You know, you had 3 team guys from the Trilogy, but then Casey, who, yeah, he's sponsored by DD, but he's more of, he's a celebrity more than probably a player. I mean, if it wasn't for, you know, his hockey's promotions and the DD stuff on there, outside of hockey fans, I don't know that a ton of people necessarily know who he was. But with the relationship between an NHL, DD, and disc golf, he's more known in the disc golf community. So I look at him more as like a celebrity, like, you know, like the Real Housewives, the real disc golfers of Delaware, you know, kind of thing. Maybe that's a show right there, the Real Disc Golfers of Maryland, or. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And I did, I saw you comment about Gatekeeper. They're a new production company this year. It seems like they're doing big things. They are actually one of the few companies I don't think I've never worked with or had to talk to. I haven't worked with a ton of people, but I've at least talked or had serious conversations with just about all the other crews except Gatekeeper. And I saw them floating around somewhere. I don't remember if it was Vegas or Arizona or where it was at. It might even been GBO.
Yeah, they were. I believe they were at Vegas and GBO.
Okay.
Yeah, they're starting to get their name out there. I want to also say one thing. After this video is out and about, we signed the discs that we used, and we're going to be auctioning them off to raise a little bit of money for Gatekeeper. So,
Okay.
you know, Gatekeeper took their time out to do that video for us. So, you know, some are signed by just Casey and just Albert, and then some are signed by all of us, and we're gonna try to help Gatekeeper keep doing what they're doing. So
Okay.
And where is that information going to be at?
it'll once the video's out, it'll have it on there when they're gonna start auctioning them off. I'm not sure exactly right yet what we're gonna do, but we'll know in the next week or so.
Okay. So, all right. So I want to backtrack just something that popped up in my mind here is you were talking about at Delaware. You were so close to making the USDGC. Have you ever been to the USDGC? Even just to spectate?
Yeah, well, I went down there. David Wiggins Jr. and I went down there and tried to qualify one year many years ago, but I haven't been back since.
Okay. Any chance you're going to go and try to do the Monday qualifier?
Maybe. I'll see. I might. I would love to play USDGC. I think I'm at the point right now I'm playing well enough to compete at USDGC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very content on cashing. I would love to cash at USDGC. I would love to take a top 10. My goal going into Worlds was top 10. I took 15th. I'll just have to do better next year. So.
Well, I've been to the USDGC 5 times, but one of my goals is to legitimately qualify. I mean, my times I got is, so like I got a sponsorship exemption when they did the performance, and then I went for a couple years in a row because I was in the top 10 of performance. So I guess theoretically I did qualify legitimately during those, but it's the AM equivalent. I mean, it's not the same as qualifying for the pro side of USDGC. And so I agree with you. If you're able to get down there, whether it's this year or future year, I think it's just I don't know, a bucket list item or just a major achievement to qualify for the USDGC, and like you being so close to Delaware. But even to qualify in like those 5 spots, those 5 spots aren't easy. There's a lot of big names that usually try to qualify in that, and yeah, you have to just keep in touch if you decide, or make sure you let us know if you do decide to do that this year. Definitely be rooting for you. So this year you got picked up by Latitude 64. Do you have any other sponsors?
Yeah, I have. Shady Rays is a small sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put out codes every now and then where you can get a discount. It helps me raise a couple bucks here and there. And then Heiser Flip Disc Golf out of New Jersey, Scott Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, those are the 3. So
Okay. So, and do you have and where are you, just for your fans or maybe new fans that maybe you'll pick up, or people who are interested to follow you after this interview, is where's the best place people can follow you at? What is it? Just Facebook on your page? Do you have any other social media, Instagram or things like that? YouTube?
yeah, I have Instagram. I believe it's Kevin. It's either Kevin Gleason 19195 or Kevin 19195. But usually I post to Facebook. I've started posting more to Instagram. I forget, but I forget to post on Instagram because I can go there first and it throws it right into Facebook. I do a lot on Facebook. Dave Feldberg actually joking about me. He was like, I've never met you before, but I see you on Facebook every day. So
That's good. That's social marketing, though. I mean, that's how you get people to know who you are. So when that opportunity comes to brand yourself or, just create a value, especially come sponsorship or things down the road, or if you ever get to a point that you're fundraising, you need people to know who you are a little bit. So, all right. So before I let you go here, just the last question. We're nearly in September of 2019. Have you started looking at 2020 yet? Do you have any ideas yet of, without knowing the schedule of, this is what I want to do in 2020? I saw you commenting on Facebook probably just like a week or so ago about some of your goals for 2019, like going to the GBO or things like that. So what do you know of 2020 yet?
Or hope?
I would, I hope to. My goals next year, I would like to play more bigger tournaments. I'd like to take the time out to go to the bigger tournaments and play a lot of the C tiers that I play. Uh, you know, I don't have any real big ones planned right now. I'm kind of one of those people that kind of plan it every 3 months or so and look at the schedule, pick out a few things. The Delaware tournament will definitely be one that's on the list. If it's still a national tour next year, I'm pretty sure it is. Um, the Black House, the Grange A tier, if it's an A tier next year, B tier, whatever, I'll be there for that one. That is one of the most beautiful and kept up places. It's in Spotsylvania, Virginia. If you ever have a chance to get out there, the Black House is a wonderful place. I'd like to go to GBO again this year, or next year, I mean. I just got to start saving, save a little bit extra money. It's expensive going on these trips. And
maybe that's where that social branding and getting Latitude behind you and do some fundraising going into the off season. You do your hashtag GBO funds. Start working on that.
Maybe I'll get some disc made or something, to help me raise some funds next year. That's always I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do anything like that this year, just being with Latitude. I'm still learning a lot of the stuff there's so many discs. I'm still working on my bag, trying to put something else in new all the time. I'm stuck to a few things I really enjoy, like the Vandal. That's one of my favorite discs also. I used it at Iron Hill, probably half the holes, just, being the consistency of it.
So what's the one disc in your bag that if they're doing these retired molds and things like that, is there a disc in your bag that if it disappeared tomorrow, that it would just hurt? You're like, oh my, I can't believe I lost that disc.
Pure.
The Pure, okay.
Which I don't believe it's going anywhere.
No,
but yeah.
Did you see the Pures that Latitude promoted today?
The Chameleon?
Well, the Chameleon Opto X Pure. But they had some just good-looking ones that they had promoted up on the Latitude store.
I did. I saw kind of like the skulls behind you. I know they had some of those today, I believe.
Yeah.
I saw those.
There's a skull and then some kind of custom one or something like that. So, yeah, the skull right here. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they had the writing at the bottom. I did see those also.
Yeah, they were just really good looking, and the Pier's a little too shallow for me, but I've always liked the look of them. It just doesn't work for me at the feel. I'm more like between a Judge and a Dagger. I'm actually waiting for the soft Keystone to come out. I like the Keystone. It's just a little too firm for me. I like softer putters. So I'm curious to see the soft Keystone once that comes out.
See, now the Trilogy Challenge, the Burst Keystone, it's a little bit harder. I really like that one compared to the Protos that I have. Protos I'm using off the tee for that good flip shot, but the hard bursty one was really nice in the challenge the other day. I liked it.
Well, when we did our Trilogy Challenge, it felt, like I said, I putt with fairly softer putters. Not super soft, but soft. And the ones we got in our Trilogy Challenge, I even commented in my video, was these feel so awkward to me. But I was putting very well with them. So like they were coming off my hand properly. I liked the glide on them. I just didn't quite like the way they felt. So now I've been kind of just saying I'm looking forward to a soft one and seeing if that makes a difference. Just some of those longer ones. I like my Judge, but it seems to not have quite the glide. When I get around that 30-foot mark, where that Keystone from about 40, I still felt like I was getting a lot of room. I had a little tougher time with the grip because of the firmness. But so, all right, man, before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to say or promote or talk about, or anything we didn't talk about that you would like your fans or people to know about?
Nah, I think you already had everything I was thinking of, you brought up. So, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that comments on my Facebook or my Instagram, and, the ones that write me private messages, and, it feels good. It's a little weird sometimes signing autographs, but I guess I kind of enjoy it. So it's I got to say thank you to Latitude for bringing me on the team. I'm extremely happy with playing with them, and everybody over at DD's been great, and everybody at Latitude's been great. I'm ready for these Chameleon Pures to come out. I'm ready to throw one of those. So look for a video in the next little bit of me trying out the Chameleon Pures.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those. I think I just got a notification today that I should be getting mine in the next day or so. The few that I ordered, and I'm a big collector, so I collect mostly DD, but I dabble a little bit sometimes with Latitude or Westside as things come out. So I didn't get a ton of those, but a couple, a few that I'll fundraise with, but then a couple that I'll store, and then one or so that I'll throw, just mostly so I can tell people what an Opto-X Pure does. It seems like the big question I always get. I was like, I don't throw them, but the few little things I have, this is what I did. So, but I appreciate you coming out. In the description of this interview, when I post it up on YouTube, I will add your links for both Instagram and Facebook or things like that, so people can follow you, ask any questions, and again, I appreciate you coming, and we'll see you next time. Good luck on the rest of the tour.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me.